Just give it a sec. Okay, we are live. Hello, good evening, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of educational content on DocSpot on Facebook Live. My name is Saurav, and I will be your guest for today's session. I'm a proud pet parent of two puppies based out of Bangalore. And our today's topic of discussion is something which a majority of pet parents have dealt with during their tenure, which is fussiness of our pets in eating their food, which we are joined by Akashika, who's a clinical pet nutritionist with over 10 years of experience in pet nutrition. Hey Akashika, welcome
Hi,
to this session.
Saurabh.
I connected with
I'm welcome
Akashika
to you too,
around.
Saurabh. I think it's your first time on DocSpot, right?
Yes, yes. So shout out to you and Saloni for inviting me for this session. That's great. It's a great learning opportunity. So I met Akashika around 6 months back when I was dealing with the problem that one of my puppies was not actually eating his kibble, no matter what tricks I tried with him. And at one point, after casual Google searches, I just felt that it was time for professional help, and I sought out a professional nutritionist. And basically Akashika did profiling on what could be the possible reasons for his fussiness in eating his regular food. And I have been feeding my dog fresh food for around 5 months now, and I would, in my personal opinion, the results are phenomenal. So that's the reason, this my personal interest in this topic, where I believe that a lot of pet parents can actually benefit from this particular thing. So to start off, Akashika, if you can just talk about, what does a fussy eater means for a dog specifically, and what does it, how to identify the early signs on whether my dog is really a fussy eater, or is he a picky eater, or is it like a one-off thing?
We almost always worry, that what we're feeding our dog isn't enough for them. Sometimes dogs just stop eating because they're bored of whatever you're giving them, and sometimes we are way too finicky. Ek baar chhod diya and we think, it's a big deal. It's not. If your dog skips a meal or two, that's fine. If it's happening on a regular basis, that's when you need to get worried about it. Mostly it happens because just like us humans, dogs also get bored of the same food, and getting the same thing in the bowl every day can be a little boring. So you need to fix up a routine. You need to bring in more variety to their food so that you can actually get them more interested in eating. Some dogs, especially small dogs, they don't have a lot of food drive, and these dogs make, they do make very good fussy eaters. And for them, you have to see what interests them. If it is your attention, or if they seek your attention more than food, then maybe try feeding them. After rewarding them with your attention, make them do something, get them involved in an activity, and then praise them for it. I think they'll respond well.
Got it. So small dogs in particular do not have a really high
Are
food
fussier
drive.
eaters.
So we need to figure out alternate
Yeah.
mechanisms which interest the dog. Got it.
Right.
Are there any other things aside from the breed specific nuances, which boils down to the individual nature of dogs, certain health issues which could possibly lead to them being a fussy eater?
Yeah, definitely. There are various health issues that could cause. So it doesn't make a dog fussy eater. It just, dogs, they lose their interest in eating. It could be because of some undiagnosed pain or inflammation your dog is suffering from. It could be because of stomach parasite. It could be because of some kind of infection. It could be maybe because of stress and anxiety. It could be because of something as simple as an irritable bowel syndrome. So you need to get in touch with your vet if your dog is not eating and that's been a routine for him, that he is not eating his food properly.
Got it. So, I'm. This is my personal experience as a pet parent, and at what point should we be looking out to tackle the problem ourselves? And what are the possible solutions which can be done at home, which apply to a wide variety of dogs, versus what are the cases when we need to seek out professional help, either go to a vet or a nutritionist? So,
See, if your dog is not eating, if it's just, once a week that your dog is skipping out on meals, it's probably because he doesn't want to eat. It happens to us humans. If it's on a regular basis, that he's skipping out on one meal and eating the rest of the meals, then maybe you're giving him way beyond his caloric requirement, or way beyond what he's supposed to eat. Maybe you're giving him too many table scraps. Maybe you're giving him too many treats. Too many treats can fill a dog up, as can table scraps. So it's better not to give him that, and that's where he'll probably finish his own bowl first and then look at what you're eating. And so if it's something like this, that's fine. But if it's a routine that can you hear me, Saurabh?
yes, I
Yeah,
can.
if it's a routine, yeah, if it's a routine, if it starts like your dog has stopped eating altogether, is not bothering to eat the food at all, he's always been a good eater, and even if he's a fussy eater, he stops eating altogether, that's when you go to a vet. That's when
Got
there
it.
is an underlying issue that might be causing it. If there's a gradual decline in, whatever he's eating, the amount he's eating, that's when you need to be a little alarmed and take him to a vet.
Got it. So, I wanted to cover the section where pet parents can do specific things at home, to deal with the fussiness in eating. So, are there any? So, basically, the point you said was that do not feed too many table scraps, control the intake of treats, because if their tummy is full, they are understandably not going to show an interest in the food. So, any suggestions on how pet parents out there can manage, the treats contents, like how to maintain the schedule for feeding regular food versus treats, that kind of a thing, so that we know
See,
that
if
how
you're
much
feeding,
intake
if
we are
you're feeding, See, if you're feeding dog food, then stick to the quantity that's mentioned on the package, or ask your vet what would be the right quantity to feed. Soak
getting.
it properly in water so that the dog is very well hydrated. Try giving food at the same location, at the same time, in the same bowl every day. Try putting him try putting the bowls in a spot where your dog feels comfortable, where he's not stressed out, where there's very little traffic, like no, not too many people walking around from that area. Give him that one secluded area where he's confident, where he is calm, where he can, he feels safe and he eats his food. I think that is the best way to go about with it. Stick to a time. If you're giving your dog food at 6 a.m. today, then stick to that time. Do that, repeat giving the food at the same time every day.
Correct. So what I'm hearing is discipline and routine is the name of the game.
Yes, discipline and routine is very important. Also, do not give your dogs too many table scraps and treats, because if we put them all together, they can definitely make one meal. That might be the one meal your dog is skipping out on.
Definitely. That makes sense. Just adding to that point, basically, you said that small breeds specifically have a low food drive. So, what can we possibly do in terms of, exercise and, their walks, or scheduling their walks around their food time, so that they are more excited for their next upcoming meal?
See, I would say that with dogs who crave your attention before giving them their food, try making them, do a routine, maybe an obedience routine, maybe play with them, maybe teach them some tricks, and as a reward, offer them the food after praising them. So, when you praise them, they get excited, and in that excitement, they might just end up eating their food. Exercise is very, very important. If your dog isn't getting enough exercise, he's any which way is not going to eat a lot of food because he's taking in the calories and he's not burning them out.
Correct. So, in that case, it's just like humans that their food intake is primarily determined by how much they are exercising, and for their healthy well-being, exercise is a key component of it, and they should be getting regular exercises so that their food intake is in a proper fashion. That is really helpful. Just
Right.
wanted to come back again to one point related to food. Are there, in your personal and
Hmm.
professional experience, are there certain food which we give to our pets which end up kind of getting rejected, which have higher chance of getting rejected by our dogs, from your experience?
See, I have always seen dogs enjoying fresh food more than dry dog food or kibble. And I have seen dogs leaning towards, foods that have an enticing smell to them, like your dog would over. So I have seen this in my experience. My dogs prefer grilled chicken or grilled meat over boiled meat because the smell is very enticing for them. Anything that smells good is, I think, what dogs prefer. Fresh food is obviously something that dogs would prefer over kibble any time of the day.
That makes sense. So, so what I'm hearing is that anything which enhances the flavor and the aroma of the food, if it already does not have help in building the appetite, would you like to, suggest certain natural appetite stimulators for our pet parents, which are easy to
Yes,
procure and make?
ginger. Yes, yes, definitely. So ginger is one thing that is a very good appetite stimulant. Garlic is a very good appetite stimulant, but garlic, some dogs are allergic to garlic and can get poisoning. So you have to check whether or not your dog is allergic to garlic before giving them garlic.
Got it.
Adding bone broth to the food is great because it has got a very good smell, which dogs really like, and it gives that bony flavor to the whole meal, which is something which, and it also increases appetite. So this is something that would help your dog eat food, and obviously it will stimulate that appetite of your dog. Then there are herbs like chamomile tea. So giving your dog chamomile tea, if your dog has anxiety, is a calming. Your dog is not stressed out, so he'll probably go and eat. Also, it is very soothing for the stomach and is a known appetite stimulant. So that is one thing that maybe you can administer to your dog if you like. Fennel is a very good appetite stimulant. If you add fennel seeds or powdered fennel seeds to your dog's food, but these herbs should be just added, maybe 1/8 teaspoon or just a pinch of it is fine. You can add this fenugreek seeds also. You can soak them in water overnight, or you can just boil your chicken. When you're boiling the chicken, or when you're making bone broth, just add a few in the broth and give it to them meal. So it increases the appetite. Also, it gives a very good fragrance and curry flavor to the food, which dogs really enjoy.
Got it. So that's a great suggestion because most of these ingredients are, in my opinion, easy to get and try. So basically, it's a hit and trial method. You
Hmm.
try very small quantities in the dog food and see what works for you. Just wanted to post one question that has been shared by Sudarshan, and this is something which I also experienced personally in my journey for correcting the fussiness of my own pet while eating. There were moments where I was going beyond. I was letting go of the discipline for my puppy and trying to hand feed him, because as a pet parent, I was more worried that is my dog getting enough
Hmm.
nutrition versus skipping some meals.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
is this the right approach, or how should a pet parent look at it?
See, so first answering Sudarshan's question, he's saying as a 6-month-old German Shepherd, not eating on her own. You're hand feeding, you're spoiling her, Sudarshan. That's something that you shouldn't do. Um, if you're adding veggies to her meals, add meat also. I would say if you're going for home cooked meal, get a chart made or a diet plan made for her by a professional. Maybe the calories are more than what she right now has to take, or maybe the protein content is higher. I don't know what exactly you're feeding her. I just see the word veggies here. She skips her meal. I think if first thing, give her good exercise. It's a dog with a high energy level. It requires a lot of. It's a breed that's very intelligent. Requires a lot of mental stimulation. Take her out, exercise her, reward her with food. Like give her the food as as opposed to a treat instead of a treat. Reward her with food. Try giving her balanced meal. If the meal is not balanced, if there are too many calories or the amount is more than what she needs, she's going to fuss about it. So maybe try being a little stricter and carefully plan what you're feeding her. Feed in right quantities and amount. Hand feeding, I would not recommend.
So I'm again asking on behalf of pet parents. So what I'm
Hmm.
basically hearing is that we have to always prioritize discipline, because dogs are a creature of habits. And if we have
Right.
to skip probably one or two odd meals in order to drive the right behavior, we should do that.
Hmm.
The,
Yes, put
uh,
your foot down. Exactly.
got it.
That's what you have to do. Your dog is not going to starve itself. Until unless
Yes.
obviously there's a health issue, that's when things go south. But otherwise, if your dog is just being fussy or stubborn, you are actually encouraging the behavior by if he's not eating something, you replace it by something else. Ki chalo kuch to kha lega. But then that is not the right approach. You're just making your dog more stubborn. You're pampering him. Instead, take the meal, put the meal in front of him, wait for half an hour. If he's not eating, take that away. Your dog will ultimately eat. Even if one day he doesn't eat, the next day he's going to do it because he's not going to starve himself.
So hard love is what is being
Yes, yes,
recommended.
yes.
One question I had was, are there any situations in which you recommend free feeding, but just keeping the food bowl there and allowing the dog to eat
No,
whenever they want, the fixed
no.
quantity, or always having that fixed time?
See, I have seen a lot of people who are working where both the couples are working. They usually go for free feeding, but I would say feed him before going, feed him after coming back. Free feeding is not really a great choice, A, because when you put out that dog food in the air, if it's a packaged dog food, the EFAs will start going rancid. So it is losing its nutrition all day out there. Free feeding should be totally avoided until unless it is medically required. I would say there should be a proper time of feeding your dog. It shouldn't be कि कभी भी मन के आके खा लिया.
Got it. That's actually a great advice, and it's like something which a lot of new pet parents, since because of the love for their pets, they sometimes go
Hmm.
lax on these disciplinary things. So that's
Hmm.
great hearing it from a professional person. One since I would like to elaborate on one point. You mentioned that. Kibble, if kept out in the air for too long, it goes rancid. So, uh, what are the steps that a pet parent can take in order to preserve their kibble packets? Because my understanding is once you open the packet, the deterioration process starts as soon as it comes in contact with the air.
See, The kibble company claim that their shelf life is quite long. It's like
Okay.
some claim it's 3 weeks, some claim it's 4 weeks. But I would say if you're getting kibble, don't get the huge bags. Get the smaller bags that would just last you for a week, because after a week the EFA start going rancid. No point. If you're storing the kibble, store it in an airtight container. Do not store it like do not just cut it open and leave it loose. Store it in an airtight container so that the kibble is not exposed to air, then that it can have a longer shelf life. That's what I would say. Whenever giving kibble, soak them. I'm not a fan of kibble, but if you are giving kibble, soak them properly before giving it out to your dog so that your dog does not dehydrate.
Got it. And in parallel, for pet parents who are giving home cooked recipes or fresh food, what, in your opinion, is the right method of storage so that we are ensuring that we are giving the right food, and dog is not just skipping the meals because the food has gone bad.
See, there are a lot of fresh food companies out there these days. So if you're getting a fresh food, if you buy it from market, the best place is store it in your freezer. Defrost it overnight in the fridge and give it to your dogs. If you're making it at home, if you're making it fresh, good enough. If you're making the stock for the whole week, just again store it in the freezer. Defrost it overnight in the fridge before giving the next day.
Got it. Got it. That definitely makes sense. Just coming back to the point of natural supplements, we have talked about natural supplements that. Sorry about the word supplements. What I mean was flavors and additives. Would you recommend any artificial or medical supplements which pet parents can add to their pet's diet, or should it be only done on professional recommendation?
See, Abhi, what we discussed was basically something that you can easily find in your home. You can add to the meal. Now I'll tell you what you can buy from the store and you can add. If you don't have brewer's yeast at home, brewer's yeast is basically vitamin B. Adding that to the meal increases the diet or increases the kind of hunger in a dog. So the dog eats more than it usually does. So I would say brewer's yeast you can use if in case your dog is allergic to brewer's yeast, because some dogs are allergic to brewer's yeast. In that
Mm-hmm.
case, you can go for a vitamin B supplementation. But how much to give, either brewer yeast or the supplementation, talk with a nutritionist or talk to your vet. It depends on your dog's weight, age, and your the activity level. They will recommend the amount and the quantity. There are medication also. I am not touching that subject. I know they are I know a few. They're mostly antidepressants that we use. But I would say you talk to your vet. He would be a better person to guide you through that, not me.
Got it. So basically, what we are saying is that there are corner cases, but there does not exist one solution that fits all, and we need to do
Mhm.
professional vet,
Exactly.
understanding of the dog
Mhm.
profile before even approaching it. Because a lot of times I see in my circle a lot of people doing this hit and trial with even the medical supplements, which I feel is risky, and that you saying it out really puts the onus that we should not be playing around with medical supplements.
No.
I'm sharing another question which is by Yamini, and the generic idea of the question is that are there any ways, are there any serving techniques for making food more palpable for our pets? The temperature which is served, either mixed with water, things like that. So if you have any tips or advice around that, that would be great.
See, Yamini, you should soak your kibble in water, especially for an older dog, because if your dog is older, he's more prone to kidney diseases. And when dry dog food goes inside your dog's system, it soaks up all the stomach fluids, and there are no fluid left to flush the waste out of the kidney, especially if your dog is not drinking enough water. So it's always better to soak and give it to your dog so that it doesn't soak up all the stomach fluids and the kidney gets the amount of fluid it needs to flush the waste out. You do not want to overexert his kidneys right now, so do soak the kibble. That is the thing you should do right now. As for the temperatures and adding, you can add something to your dog's food that he loves. If you're, I see dogs who like cottage cheese, maybe add a little bit of sprinkle it over their food so that they're more interested in eating it. Try serving warm food to your dog. I have found dogs are more attracted to warm food, and they do respond better to warm food than cold food or food at room temperature. Just a little warm, especially if you're cooking at home. If you're freezing them, I would say just put the bag of the food, take it out from the fridge, put it in lukewarm water for 5-10 minutes so that it gets a little warm, and then serve it to your dog. If you're giving kibble, soak it in warm water so that it becomes a little warm, and that would be more palatable for your dog.
Correct. Thanks. This seems like a great advice, which I have tried personally, because usually for the home cooked recipes and the fresh food branch, it says directly serve out of fridge. But for fussy eaters, bringing it to the room temperature or just like enough warm is, I think, great suggestion. Another question I have, which I have personally felt, is a lot of times I get confused between whether my dog does not like eating a particular food brand or an ingredient, or if he's fussy in general. For example, my dog does not like eating fish, and if I'm primarily giving a recipe which is based on fish, he is not eating it. But in reality, he's a picky eater versus a fussy eater. So if you can, throw some light on how to go about distinguishing these two things, it would be helpful for pet parents.
See, picky eaters do not necessarily, if you give them what they like, they can eat it. Like they will not fuss about it. Fussy eaters, so with picky eaters, maybe my dog doesn't like fish and he doesn't eat fish, so okay, but anything else I give him, he'll eat. But if it's a fussy eater, he'll fuss with almost any and everything.
Got it.
Yeah, so I've seen cases where a dog, you give them cottage cheese, they'll eat happily for 2 days, and then the third day they'll be like, "Nay, now I don't want to eat it." So that's a fussy dog there, right there.
Got it. So basically, hit and trial on the ingredients. If that behavior is over all kind of foods, then it's a fussy eater. If it's for some certain ingredients, they are picky about it, just like humans. All right, that makes sense. Another question, Akashika, I had was one, if you can talk about the variety of foods we need to introduce for our pets, because the overall thought is just like us. If we are fed one kind of food, it gets boring and we lose interest in it. So we should be giving a wide variety of food to our dog. On the other hand, there are vets who say that stick to one particular diet for your pets, otherwise they will have stomach upsets. So between these two school of thoughts, where should a pet parent how should they navigate?
See, I would say variety is very, very important. The more variety you add in, the more your dog is interested in eating. If you go to a nutritionist, if you get a meal plan made, you'll notice that she'll give you at least a few recipes that you can interchange between, so that the variety is there and your dog is getting the nutrition he requires. Even in dog food, you'll see different grains and different type of meat being there. So if you're changing, like when you're giving home cooked meal, if you're changing between meats, that's fine. Once your dog is used to it, you can change it on a daily basis. But if it's something that you just started, if it's something new, then you should go for a transition process, wherein within 4 to 5 days you transition to the new food. Otherwise, obviously, he'll get stomach upset if he has a weaker stomach. I've seen dogs transitioning just like that from kibble to home cooked food, and I've seen dogs taking their own sweet time to transition to the home cooked food.
Got it. Got it. This is really helpful on understanding the that we have to keep a balance between these two things. Another question I had was, and this is a recent observation because for our viewers in India, we recently had Diwali. I felt that during this whole Diwali window, when we are, there are loud noises in form because of bursting of crackers, dogs are more anxious. And is it possible that they could have fussiness, induced fussiness because of anxiety? More from a psychological standpoint, if they are anxious, if they are scared, does it affect their appetite? What can we do as
Yes,
pet parents around it?
yes. So dogs, anything that makes a dog anxious, that makes a dog fearful, he can kind of, then not be interested in food. He's busy hiding under the bed during Diwali. He doesn't really have the, peace of mind to go out there and eat. And anxious and dogs who are stressed out, you'll find these dogs, they kind of skip their meals, skip on their meals, and it's better to aid them with something that can calm them down. Like suppose your dog has an anxiety issue, a few drops of vetiver essential oil and rose essential oil on the collar will calm him down, and that kind of then in that calm mood he'll be more inclined to eat food than in when he's anxious. With cats, though, I would say don't go for the essential oils. Cats are not like dogs. They have a very different this thing. Cats usually do not, a lot of essential oils don't suit cats. With cats it's difficult, so no essential oils for cats. And for cats, even the basic remedies that I told you, you have to that those were only for dogs, because for cats they don't digest a lot of things. They're obligate carnivores. So with cats, don't do things on your own. Just talk to your vet or talk to a nutritionist, and what he says or what they advise, just go for that.
Got it. Just a word of for our viewers. This session is specifically for fussy eaters, which are dogs and not cats. So just reiterating what
No,
Akashika
no, no.
said.
This is about cats also. It's for pets.
Okay, because got it. Sorry about the confusion. I thought that
Yeah,
this
it's
because
for
the point
cats
you were
also.
talking about. Got it, got it. There is another question which I felt warranted, which John is basically asking is how do I increase my dog appetite naturally? And my question to you is, Akashika, is we have talked about the valid reasons why a dog could be a fussy eater, but
Hmm.
there are some instances when dog naturally themselves know how much food they need, but we as pet parents are trying to overfeed them. There are because of their understanding of how much food they need, which is the nutritional intelligence. They understand in certain aspects how much food they need, versus our understanding of how much they need. There is a difference, right? What we see versus what the pet needs. So
See, both dogs and
if you
cats
can
have
elaborate on what nutritional intelligence means.
See, both dogs and cats have nutritional intelligence. It simply means that your cat and dogs, their body know how much they need. If they put on a few extra pounds, they would reduce their, they would probably leave a little bit of food in the bowl. That's just to come back to the ideal weight. Most of the dogs and cats, their bodies know it. So they work like
Got
that. But then there are dogs who have a very high food drive that overtake their nutritional intelligence. So those are exceptional cases. John, you can increase your dog's diet naturally. Like I said, you can use ginger paste. You can add a little bit of maybe, depending on your dog's weight. If it's a small breed, then maybe 1/4 teaspoon. If it's a large breed, if it's a medium sized breed, half teaspoon of ginger paste would do. You can add the bone broth to your dog's meal. You can add a little bit of fennel powder or a little bit of fenugreek to your dog's food. That would increase his appetite, and that's again something natural that you're giving to your dog. Also, you can add brewer's yeast. Again, just check whether or not your dog is allergic to it. If he is, you can ask your vet to supplement your dog with vitamin B.
Got it. But the point I was trying to seek the clarification on was uh, there are certain use cases where we as pet parents are feeling that our dog needs to eat more when in reality they do not, right? So that is the over
Yes,
worrying
in
part as
India,
of being a pet parent.
yes. As long as your dog has a shiny coat, as long as he's active, as long
Yes,
as you're not seeing any of his bones, he's fine. You're worrying.
got it.
You're just worrying. If he skips a meal or two, that's fine. That doesn't really matter. But if your dog has a coat that's dry, and if his bones are showing, that's when you need to be worried about it. Or if it becomes something that's very constant, like every day he's just eating 1/4 of what he actually should know. For in that case, you should know what your dog requires exactly, because dog food packaging, Otherwise, you'll need to calculate the daily metabolic energy that your dog requires, or the daily amount of protein, or the daily calories your dog requires, the amount of food your dog requires, and then as per that, give him the food. He would eat what he requires.
Got it. Because in my personal experience, if I'm using a kibble brand, the feeding guidelines on it are based for standardized dogs, and just like humans, no two dogs are same, right? So saying generic feeding guidelines says X gram of food every day might not be actually true for your own pet. So for pet parents, we would recommend, what would you recommend, like how should they approach trying to identify the exact nutritional needs? Because I think that is the
Mm,
starting point to know whether they are doing the right thing and whether pet is on the right track.
See, most of the dog food brands, the calories they decide. So there are ways of deciding on calories. There's a performance calorie requirement, performant dog, and then there is a basic maintenance calorie requirement. What we get in market is 90% maintenance. So if your
Got it.
dog is overactive, you might want to switch him to a performance dog food that has the kind of calories your dog requires. This is for dogs who are really working, and in India, I have yet to come across a really good working dog. I mean, I've seen dogs who are working dogs, but I don't have a client who has a working dog. So
Got it.
if your dog is just he goes for a half an hour walk or a 1 hour walk, keep him on the maintenance diet. If he is more active, if you feel that if you're a trainer person, there are a lot of trainers in India, good trainers in India. For them, I would say go for a performance diet rather than sticking to a maintenance diet. That will be better for your dog.
Got it. So unless if we have to break it down, it basically means unless your dog is doing some professional services or some competitive work, they need to be on a maintenance diet. The adults dog. No, puppies have a different requirement.
Puppies have a different requirement altogether.
Got it. So this is really helpful, and from if I'm an average pet parent and I am trying to understand and observe if my dog is a fuss eater and what possibly can I do about it. But if you can just talk about certain red flags which pet parents needs to be wary about, and in those cases they should be seeking a professional help and not trying to make decisions on their own, certain from personal and professional experience where pet
If there is
parents
a sudden, if your dog has not
there
been a fuss eater, or even if he
versus
has been a fuss eater, and there's a sudden decline in the amount he was eating, a sudden decline, that is something that's a red flag. Go check with a vet. If And especially in older dogs, if they just quit eating altogether, or if they just start eating half of what they were eating, that too, they're not very interested in that, take them to a vet, get the normal blood work done, or whatever blood work your vet wants to do on them, and then see if there's an underlying issue you might want to work on.
Got it. So
And
any sudden
again,
changes in
behavior also, in activity also, if your dog is not very active, if you see lethargy, if you see the coat getting all dry, if you see dog sleeping a lot, a dog who's very active, um, these are the signs where you want to go to a vet and check with him.
Got it. This is definitely helpful, and just reiterating a question which Kashika has already answered. Ruchika has asked this question. Not sure which what amount of quantity to be fed. So if you can just reiterate, or I can do that.
I cannot respond to that because Ruchika, you've just told me it's a lab puppy, and I don't know the age, I don't know the weight. I cannot. So there are 4 stages in puppies. All 4 stages have different calculations for caloric requirement. I cannot just answer it like that. You need to tell me the weight. I need to know the activity level of your puppy. I need to see the body condition of your puppy. There are a lot of things that I need to know before I can answer to this. If you're feeding him dry kibble, it will be mentioned at the back of the package. You might want to get in, if you're feeding him home food, you might want to get in touch with a nutritionist or a vet before deciding on it. If you want a clearer view on this, you can always email me, or you can always get in touch with me. I can then look at it personally.
Sure. So for pet parents out there, in my opinion, dog nutrition is somewhat complex, and it needs to be handled on an individual by individual case. There are so many parameters there. So always, it's recommended to seek out professional advice before, adopting general trends for feeding. So I don't have any other questions, Akashika. If you wanted, if you have any closing comments on how to possibly we can manage fussy eating better, at least in India, well, you are welcome to share those.
It's just simple, keep your dog exercise. The more he works out, the more he burns out his energy, the more he'll want to eat. Um, Again, try feeding him fresh. Fresh is always better. They're more inclined towards eating fresh than kibble. If your dog is more interested in kibble, give him a good quality kibble. Don't give him a kibble with a lot of fillers in it, especially avoid kibble brands that have corn in it, or maize, corn or maize, the same thing in it. And that don't have a lot of byproducts in it. Soak it in warm water before giving it to your dog, no matter what age, soak it. And that's it. That's what I would want to say.
So yeah, this was really helpful. I mean, a lot of these suggestions I have personally started incorporating for my own puppy, and I think they have really shown results. So thanks for sharing your personal experience, personal and professional experience, Akashika, and thanks for being a guest on DocSpot.
Yeah.
We'll be back another week. Thank you, guys.
All right. Bye bye, guys. See you.
Bye.
Bye, Rahul. Saurabh, sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
Bye.